if you didn't think World War II was the possibility of Christ returning, I don't know what was wrong with you, except maybe you had read enough of the Bible to go, there's not enough, to say it's this time. We've got Gog and Magog. For the very first time, conspiring against against Israel. Yeah. I mean, nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
But doesn't it looks...
Brother Glenn, all the players are in place. Okay, so the big difference between right now and even World War II is the existence of the state of Israel.
Right.
That's the prophecy. I'm sympathetic with some student of prophecy from 200 years ago who says, well, this is never going to happen. How in the world could the Jews ever repopulate the nation of Israel? Mm-hmm. It's just the greatest miracle. Mm-hmm. And so that miracle, that sign, it seems to me, Glenn, announced that we're in the final days. Because so many things, Israel has to be a nation for many of the prophecies to be fulfilled, namely the reconstruction of the temple. And so there has to be a national Israel in order for many of these things to happen. Well, now it wasn't there 200 years ago, 300 years ago, 400 years ago, but it's there right now. And so I think the discussion of what we're seeing on the world stage is a discussion that we need to have both politically, but even more important, spiritually. Because something is happening here that has never happened in any generation in history. I don't know when Christ is returning. I don't. Mm-hmm. No one knows.
Yeah.
But we are told to look for the signs. In fact, Jesus was critical of those religious leaders. He said, you see red sky at morning, you know it's dawn, but here I've given you sign after sign and you have not watched. And so there's an expectation that in addition to viewing what's happening geopolitically, we have to interpret it spiritually.
I will tell you that I've said so many times here recently, when the Bible was being put together, it's not like God said, the Jesus part, we went all soft. Let's go out with a bang. Let's freak everybody out in the last book of the Bible. He didn't do that. He gave that to us so we would not be freaked out. Mm. He gave it to us so we'd look and we'd know that great change is coming.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. He did these things not to scare us, but to prepare us. He told us these things so that we would not panic. See to it that you are not troubled, Jesus said the night before his crucifixion. And then in the Olivet Discourse, or the sermon about end times, Jesus said in Luke 21, lift up your eyes, your redemption draws near when you see these things coming. So rather than panic, which nobody faults anybody for their anxiety these days, but knowing what's next prepares us to face what's now. And if we can know what's next, if we can begin to get a semblance of what's about to happen, then I believe that allows us to land at a spot that says, okay, God said something like this was going to happen. I'm going to look up. I'm going to make sure my relationship with him is solid, and I'm going to pray. And I'm going to lean heavily into God's word for help.